afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our incredible Checkers Plant Kitchen powered by Simple Truth. My name is Amy Hoppy, and we have the amazing Zola Nene here in the kitchen today. Yes, we're all very, very excited to see her. And we're going to be making some steamed bread, but I'm going to pronounce it. Okay, wait. Ujeqe.
Exactly, yes, she deserves it.
Right?
She got it right, yes.
And we're doing a beautiful bunny chow. We're going to be using your own spice, your curry powder.
We are.
Fantastic.
And as well as other spices.
Amazing.
So as you said, Ames, we're making Ujeqe curry bunny chow. So I'm a Durbanite, I'm a Zulu girl, which is why we call steamed bread Ujeqe. In other cultures, Ujeqe is the same thing as dombolo, but as Zulu people, we differentiate. Just to clarify, so you might know it as dombolo, but it is also called Ujeqe. And then usually, being from Durban, we love curry, so bunny chow is my thing, curry is my thing. So we're making a cowpea bunny chow. Usually, or traditionally, we make a butter bean curry, or obviously all the meat variants. But I thought cowpeas would be really lovely because I think they're underrated and underused. So this is a great way to incorporate them into something that feels familiar but is a little bit different. So let's start with Ujeqe.
Right.
Or dombolo or steamed bread. I would love a volunteer. Who would like to come and... Oh, I love the enthusiasm. Yes.
Right up front.
Come on in, please wash your hands, and then I'll tell you exactly what to do.
Give your hands a little sanitized. We've got some sanitizer.
Ujeqe is steamed bread, as I just said. So it's basically a yeasted dough that is risen via steam because you steam the bread. So that's essentially what it is. It is one of my favorite things to make, something that I grew up eating often, and I still eat often today. It's a great substitute for starch in your Sunday meals. So if you're used to eating rice or you're used to eating pap, for example, try steamed bread. It'll give you the same comforting vibes. Hello, what is your name?
My name is Carla.
Her name is Carla. Thank you, Carla, for coming to help. So you're going to make Ujeqe. Have you ever made steamed bread before?
I've not made ombola yet, but I've kneed fig cooker, so maybe I'm not sure. I'm just saying.
Okay, perfect. If you didn't hear that, she said she's never made steamed bread before, but she is a pro kneader of fit cook. So we're in good hands. We're in good hands. Right, Carla. So in there you've got some cake flour. To that you're going to add some yeast. So this is just instant dry yeast. So you go ahead and add that. To that we're going to add some sugar. The sugar obviously feeds the yeast, and that's what activates it and helps it to rise.
How much flour do we have in here, Zola?
So we've got about 4 cups of flour, 10 grams of yeast, about 2 tablespoons of sugar. So mix those together before you add the salt. Salt retards yeast. So often when you are baking bread or making pizza dough, and for some reason your dough doesn't rise, it's probably because the salt came into direct contact with the yeast, and sometimes that'll kill the yeast cells. So what you do as a buffer is mix up the yeast and the flour, and then you can add your salt.
That's a really good tip, Zola. Carla, if you want to say anything, I've got a little mic over here. Hi everyone, this is Carla.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla, and I'm super excited to be here. This is one of my favorite chef in the world. So I'm a little bit jittery, but this has been a dream come true.
I have never been happier to choose somebody to help me.
My heart
I
is
didn't
racing.
pay her.
One for the first time, but I'm joking. But anyway, and also everybody here, thank you very much for coming. I think this is such a wonderful event. Plant-based, everything. That's super cool. And
absolutely, it's a growing phenomenon or growing genre of the food realm, which is fantastic because we should all be eating more plants, less meat, because not only economically but for the environment too.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, sorry, one more thing.
One more thing, go
we
ahead.
We have a retailer situated in the Middle East, and our health segment of the store has grown massively, and we do see that in the next couple of years, like 5 years, at least half of our store will focus on, healthy plant alternative products.
Fabulous.
Which is great.
Oh,
Thank
wonderful.
you, Carla. We're going to get those jittery hands into some serious kneading action soon.
Right,
so we'll
Carla,
be keeping you busy.
You're going to add some lukewarm water. You can actually use cold tap water as well. That'll work. It'll just slow down the raising process, but it'll actually add flavor. So whenever you go ahead, add just a little bit at a time, and then mix it until the dough forms. So there is a misconception that you need to use warm water when you're working with yeast, and that is a misconception. Cold water will still make your yeast rise, it'll just take a little bit longer. And the longer a dough takes to actually prove and rise, the more flavor development there is. So if you think about sourdough, the secret to sourdough is time. The time it takes for the yeast to naturally ferment. So you're sort of trying to get that kind of flavor by slowing down the process. So even if you make this the day before, pop it into your fridge, it'll still rise and double. And yeah, you have less to do for your Sunday lunch. So add just
Zola,
enough.
how do you think we're doing over here?
You're doing very well, but don't add too much.
Okay, there we
Amy.
go. Done.
Otherwise, we'll get some more flour. And then once you have a dough that was, that a wetter dough will result in a softer ujeqe or softer dombolo. So don't be shy to add water, but obviously you want to be able to knead it, so you don't want it to be too sticky.
Yeah.
I fear that might be too
Do you
sticky.
think you need a
Chefs,
little bit
can we
more
get a little
flour?
bit more
Oh,
flour?
sorry, too much water. Can we have some more flour,
Will you,
please?
once
Thank
we get
you.
more flour, we'll tip it out into the surface, and then you can get your,
Okay.
your kneading muscles going.
Amazing.
So
So
let's
what do we
move
have?
on to the curries.
Exactly, over on this side of the kitchen.
The cowpea curry. See, I say that I've come to do a cooking demo, but what I've actually come to do is talk about food and get someone else to do all the work. So that someone else will be, yes, thank you, come on. Come on up, wash your hands. So like any good curry, it starts with some onions. My mom says that the more onions you add to a curry, the less water you need to add, the
got
more
some
flavor your
sanitizer over
gravy
there,
has.
just here,
Take
and then
it
you
or
can just
leave it.
rinse
It's
and
what
I'll
she says. I don't ask
dab your hands.
questions. Scientifically, it doesn't make sense. But if mom says it, it is the truth. Okay? So I'm just going to get her to chop up these onions. And then we'll carry on. Oh, Ames, you can
Should
start
I
chopping.
just start?
Yeah,
Okay.
you start
Are
chopping.
we
I'll
fine in
get her-
chopping? How are we chopping?
I know, rough chopping. It's a rough curry. It's all good.
Okay, all right.
And then once she's done washing her hands, I get so excited and so sweaty. And then these lights come on, and then I'm like overexcited, and dabbing is necessary. Food makes me excited and sweaty anyway, so just roll
And
with it.
the curry's going to heat us up even more,
It
right? It's going to get
is,
hot
it
and
is.
spicy in this kitchen.
It's okay, just pop it under there.
I'm going to be handing this
Your
over to
name?
you in a second.
Suraya, thank you so much for coming to help.
Here we
I'm
go,
going to get
Suraya.
you to grate. Oh no, Amy, you started cutting onions. You carry on.
Oh, my
girl.
word.
But what you need to do is cut these in half for Suraya so she
Okay.
can grate the tomatoes.
Perfect. All right, just in half like
Just
this.
in half like that, and then she can just grate them on top of that,
Incredible.
that plate. So I use fresh grated tomatoes, just because fresh tomatoes to me taste better, and also this is the way that I learned how to make curry from my mom. So grating them, make sure that you don't actually get too much of the skin, because often when you use tomatoes and you chop the skin, sometimes you'll get leftover skin. You can skip this process and just use tin chopped tomatoes. That's fine too. But you will need to add a little bit of sugar, because those tin tomatoes are
A
sometimes
little bit
very
sour.
acidic.
Yeah, very acidic. Okay.
Exactly. Okay, let's pop the pan on and then start
So is
frying.
your
So I'm
mom a
using-
big cook, Zola?
My mom is a wonderful cook. My mom is such a wonderful cook. She takes credit for every recipe that I ever make. No, my mom is a wonderful cook. I grew up eating very well, which is probably why I ended up in the food industry in the first place. So I learned how to make curry from my mom, who learned how to make curry from our neighbor in Durban. The last place that we lived in was called Lotus Park in Durban. My mom's best friend was her neighbor. And she taught her how to make authentic Indian curry, and my mom in turn shared those secrets with me. So
Incredible.
that's the
Recipes passed down through the generations. So
Absolutely.
important.
It is so important to pass down recipes and memories and food stories, to keep traditional recipes, ingredients, indigenous ingredients, etc. alive. So I really do
Absolutely.
encourage families cooking together.
Thank you.
Right, so let's talk about
Perfect.
cowpeas. So these are cowpeas, if you've never seen them before. They're also commonly known in the US as black-eyed peas, so you'll probably recognize that name. But they are indigenous to Africa, so they grow here on our soil. So we always say, eat from your soil and you can never go wrong. So if you've never tried cowpeas before, maybe this will inspire you to try them. They're a great source of protein, among other minerals and vitamins. So if you haven't tried them, please do. What you do need to do is boil them before you cook them with your masala and all your curry spices.
That's
So-
what I was just going to ask. Like, how does that process work? How long do you cook it for?
Yeah, so you can soak them. You can soak them overnight in cold water. That sort of just softens the outer endosperm, if you will, and will make them cook faster. But if you don't have time to soak them, that's fine too. Pop them into a pot of cold water and then boil them. until they're soft. What you mustn't do is add salt to that water.
Okay.
Ooh, Amy, you can pop your onions in there.
Right.
What you mustn't do is add salt to that water.
Sorry, can I throw the dough out on the...
Yes, please, onto the surface and then give it a good knead. Everyone's waiting for your kneading skills.
Yep.
You already, you
Whoa.
told us how great your kneading skills were for fed cooks, so show us what you were talking about.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm a very messy cook. For those of you who are at the previous show, told him, my partner calls me Hurricane Amy in the kitchen because I'm just completely like, food is everywhere, things are happening, oil spraying. So I'm just going to try and do my best to mimic the
Amy,
actual chefs.
As long as you're having fun, it's okay, but as long as I'm not cleaning up the mess too, it's all good.
Okay. My arm's still tired from whisking in the last section.
So what I was saying was, when you boil your cowpeas, make sure that you don't add salt to that water. Don't salt any pulse that you cook until it's actually soft and cooked through.
Okay.
Otherwise, it does harden the outside, and you'll find it
Interesting.
never feels quite cooked enough. So, and once they're
Amazing.
cooked, they look like that. So you can see they've kind of tripled in size and gotten a little bit darker. So that's the difference from raw to cooked. And now we can carry on with our curry.
Amazing.
How are your kneading skills going
Oh,
there?
looks like
Good,
good.
good.
Incredible.
Good. Do we all approve? Do we see
Thank
the
you,
skill
Carla.
that she said? Okay, good. They all agreed. You do have the fed cook kneading skills.
So what? Your job. So what have we just added in
So
here?
in there, I've added some curry leaves. These are fresh. You can use dried if you'd like as well. So curry leaves add a great aroma. It's like what bay leaves do to Italian stews, for example, curry leaves do to Indian curries. It's like that underlying note of savoriness that you're like, oh, what is that? It's a curry leaf. That's
Beautiful.
what it is.
Should I give this a stir?
Please do. Ames.
You've got to direct me here. This is I don't want to. I want to make sure that your recipe comes out the best, the best possible way.
I think you're doing great. You're doing a great
you.
job. Okay, so to that, I'm going to add some garlic and ginger. So you want to do some more chopping?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. I'll stir. I'll take over
Great.
the easy job.
So
But-
just finely chop these 3 garlic cloves.
Finally chop those 3 garlic cloves. What I didn't say
Smash
before I
them.
started is if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put up your hand, stop us, ask us. If you disagree with anything that I'm doing or saying, you can also put up your hand so we can kick you out. Thank you. So,
I'll
No,
take
no,
the
no.
mic. I'm going to have to get someone else to chop because I'll take that microphone over to.
I know that there
It's
are
just-
many ways to do
Is this
things, and
on?
I think that cooking sessions like this are a way to share knowledge. So if you do
Hello. There we go.
have a question, or you have a different way of doing something, or you want to just impart some extra knowledge, please do.
Cool. Are you going to use curry spices that you actually produce? In other words, you market?
Yes.
Oh, goody. Okay.
So I'm using my own curry powder. So I have a curry powder, a fragrant curry powder of my own. I also have a flavor bomb spice, which is like a seasoning spice, and you can get it from my website. But of course, you can use your favorite curry powder blend. Mine
Okay.
is very mild. I come from a family, obviously Durbanite, who love curry. And when lockdown happened, a lot of people were obviously cooking because they had to. And they all asked me, how do I season my chicken differently? How do I add this to make it different? Because everyone's getting bored because they were cooking every day and they were like, oh my gosh, I only know how to make one chicken dish. And I actually was like, instead of telling everybody every time they ask me, why not just create something that people can access and then they can use? And that's literally how it came about. And you can get it from my website, zolanene.com. And try it out and let me know what you think.
Does anyone else have another question already for Zola? Or can we carry on chopping there behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's okay, Ames.
Are you taking over?
Yeah, well, loosely.
I feel like I've never had to work so hard in my life this weekend in the kitchen. Okay, great.
From whisking to chopping.
Exactly.
Okay, let's check on the dough. How are we doing?
I think Carla's doing quite well over there.
That looks good, yes. Whenever you are kneading dough, try
that
as much as
looks
possible
beautiful.
not
I
to
think
add
just
any extra unnecessary flour, because
think
as
just
you
put it
fold
down,
it,
and
like
then
you are,
where's the paper
the
towels?
flour gets in between those folds, and then sometimes once you've
you
baked
go.
or
You can
you've steamed your bread, you'll find those cracks of flour. So try to minimize the amount of extra flour that you add. It also makes your dough a little bit tougher. Excuse me, frog in my throat. A little bit tougher.
Can you?
And how do you know once you've kneaded enough?
Amazing.
So bring it together into a ball and just very gently tap the dough. So tap into the dough, or a little less gently. So, And if it springs back, you see how it's springing back really slowly? Then you know that you've worked the gluten to a good enough point where you can now knead the dough. Thank you very much for your hard
Great
work.
tip. Thank you, Zola. Thank you, Carla.
Thank
That's
you.
excellent. Our fantastic kneader.
Give her
Everyone
a
can have a round of applause for her.
So this now needs to bulk ferment, which is what we call the very first proving of a yeast dough. You want to do that until it's doubled in size. All the carbon dioxide, I was about to say carbohydrates, wrong word. All the carbon dioxide inside the yeast, and with the yeast eating the sugar that's been formed, that's going to form bubbles and aerate your dough, and that's what's going to cause it to rise. Once it's done the bulk fermentation and it's doubled in size, you want to knock it back so that you have an even crumb to whatever you're baking or steaming. So that's a very important part too, is knocking the dough back. So that means punching the dough and kneading it again until it comes to its original size. And then you can portion the dough and then pop it into either one. Traditionally, we make one big ujeqe, so one bread. But for little mini bunny chows, which is what we're doing here, you put them into little mugs or little teacups, or use tins that you save and wash. Make sure you spray them or butter them,
Yeah,
pop the dough in there, then cover again and let it prove a second time so that you get beautiful volume and lightness. Everyone with me still?
Yes.
Fabulous. Back to the curry. It's burning. It's burning. It's burning. If you are, like me, a distracted cook right now, adding a pinch of salt to your onions when they're sauteing will bring out the moisture and give you a little bit of added extra time before they burn, because if the moisture comes out, they kind of steam in the pan as opposed to fry and burn. So, note to myself even, for next time, don't get the burnt onions. So.
I'll
Right,
carry
we
on
can go-
stirring that.
We can
if
go
you like.
in with the garlic,
Yeah.
and then let's go in with the spices as
Okay,
well while she
let's
does
do it.
she chops
Thank you.
the
Do we need a little bit more
garlic.
oil or not?
No, I wouldn't
Okay.
do more oil just because I know it looks dry right now, but once the curry starts simmering again, it'll release all that oil and then you'll get an oily curry. So
Okay.
if your onions do burn and you are sort of, oh no, it's all burning, rather add a splash of water. At least then you're adding moisture, but you're not adding extra fat that's unnecessary. So at this point, I'm going to add some of my curry powder. Mine is mild, like I said. So I add it with abandon, or add as much as your heart desires.
Oh wow, you can smell it already. Beautiful.
It is very fragrant, not too spicy, because this curry actually, I created it so that my nephew could eat it, and he was a little baby at the time.
Sweet. Oh.
And yeah, it's not too spicy for him, but of course, if you do like more spice, I've got you covered. I've got a chili here. What I like to do is either break the chili in half, then it'll release more heat. Put it in whole, it'll add a fragrance, but not too much heat. Chop it up, and then you're going to fire yourself up. So if you like it really, really hot, then you can chop it up, but we want to keep things mild there. And then here I've got a red masala, which is a spice blend consisting of cayenne pepper, paprika, different red chilies, as well serrano chilies, all sorts of chilies.
Adds a bit of smokiness too.
Also adds a bit of smokiness.
Lovely.
That is very optional as well. You can just go bog standard curry powder. What would be great here, which we didn't have today, is some whole spices. So while you're frying your onions and you add your curry leaves, add some whole cumin seeds, jeera. Cumin seeds would be lovely. Some
The spice
some
coming out.
mustard seeds would also be really great.
Does
so
anyone want to smell?
Whole black mustard
Come up and
seeds will
smell?
add a pop of fragrance and some delicious flavor. Yeah.
It's lovely.
So
Zola, should I turn the heat down?
that ginger looks beautifully done and
Beautiful.
perfect. So you can add it to there, and then Amy will get the microphone so you can tell us
Thank
a bit
you so
about
much.
yourself. Add it all. We love a bit of ginger.
Oh, I love ginger.
And it's flu season. Ginger can only be a
So
good
Zola, I'm
thing.
gonna leave you to
Thank
stir
you. I'm
there
gonna
for a
stir. I'm gonna try
second.
not to burn the curry.
Let's
yeah, so
find out a little bit
ginger
more
is
from
in.
our incredible chopper over here.
Thank you. Yes, tell us a bit about yourself while I put in your beautifully grated
mic on?
tomatoes.
Just checking.
Look at that.
Just testing.
Hello, my name is Suraya.
Sorry guys, can we just put the other mic back on? Hello? There we go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Suraya. I also love doing curries and stuff like that. So when you called me up, I was in my element.
Oh, yay.
I follow Zola everywhere as well. On all social media and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Soraya.
Thank
It's
you
so
so much.
wonderful to have you
Here's
here.
my question for you, because you're an avid curry maker. Do you concur with what my mom says about more onions mean better gravy and less water needed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm also a Durbanite, ex-Durbanite.
Oh, yay. Awesome. Thank you so much for your help. Much
Thank
appreciated.
you. Thank you so much.
So basically at this stage, you just want to cook down the tomatoes. You can season with salt and pepper. You can taste here at this stage to see if the tomatoes are not sweet enough and you do like a sweeter curry. You can definitely add some sugar or maple syrup or honey. If the tomatoes are too sweet, because it does happen and some people don't like a sweet curry, add a squeeze of lemon juice just to tone it down a little bit. So once this cooks down and reduces, you can then pop in, I'm rushing the process now, you can then pop in your cooked cowpeas, and these, remember, are pre-cooked already, so it's merely for them to absorb some of the flavor.
So they're quite soft right now, Zola.
They are,
And they're
they
going
are.
to take in that beautiful curry
Absolutely.
flavor.
So they're going to absorb, so they are very soft. So yeah, they're going to absorb all the curry flavor, and you don't need to obviously serve this as a bunny chow. You're all eating it. Oh, wait, take a moment. How is it? Good?
Amazing.
Right? And you can imagine swapping out cowpeas for your regular beans, even chickpeas. You know, lots of people make chickpea curry, which is delicious. But trying
Absolutely.
something different that is that is indigenous to our continent, I think is a great change to make. And you know, when you think about plant-powered cuisine and the food movement, you also think about sustainability.
Absolutely.
And I think that, you know, focusing on ingredients that are indigenous to us and eating as many ingredients as possible that are, you know, grown here, that don't need to travel forever, that are seasonal, is also a very, very important thing. So
I'm definitely going to try these after this. I haven't used this before in a curry, and I do love a bean curry, traditional like Durban bean curry.
Yes.
Beautiful. So this is going to be great. I can't wait to taste
Absolutely.
it.
You can add a little bit of liquid here just to make sure that the beans cook until very, very tender. Add some potatoes. My mom always adds potatoes to any curry, even if you're eating it with mashed potato. It's a must. And I agree, because you can tell the measure of a great curry by how delicious the potato is. Also, the potatoes are usually the indication for when the curry is actually cooked. So if you're making chicken curry, for example, you pop the chicken in, you pop the potatoes in. Once the potatoes are soft, the chicken is cooked, and it's not going to be overcooked. So it's like a cooking indicator as well. And my late grandfather, my mom's dad, he used to, my grandmother, his wife, passed away when we were very young and when, you know, very early on in their marriage. But he always, whenever he was complimenting my mom's food, he'd always go, this is good. This reminds me of your mom. The potatoes taste like meat. So, you see, potatoes are a very important part of curries, especially in my family. So, I want to know more about how they feel about the curry and if they've ever had cowpeas before and if they'll be trying them.
Good. Great.
She's just eating and nodding. It's cool. That's a great response too. Thumbs up. Does anyone have any more questions that they'd like to ask?
I'll bring the microphone.
I'm going to do a new tissue. Wash my hands.
Microphone.
Hello, Zola. If you were to make the bread without wheat flour, what would you have used?
Oh, that's a very good question. Gluten-free baking and cooking is also something that's becoming. So see it. Okay, it's also something. I was saying to him, I told you it'll come off. I'm a sweaty Betty. Put more tape. Anyway, gluten-free baking is something that is very prevalent as well, and it's becoming more fashionable. So that's a really great question. I would use a combination of flours. So with gluten-free baking, the general issue that people come across is not having enough liquid, because the liquid absorption for wheat flour and non-wheat flours is very different. So I would use a combination of flours. So I would use a bit of corn flour. I would use coconut flour, which is actually really great. And lots of people think that it tastes like coconut, but it really doesn't. Coconut flour is actually very
Quite neutral, yeah.
flour. So that combination would be really great because the starch of the corn flour will sort of offset
What
the
about
coconut
rice flour, Zola?
Rice flour
Yeah.
would be great because that's also as starchy as the corn flour would be. Potato flour would also be. I always encourage people when they're experimenting with gluten-free baking is to always mix flours. Don't ever go straight one flour because then you'll come across not only flavor situations but also trying to balance out the moisture retention, the rising, all of that. So those would be the combinations that I'd use. So coconut flour and rice flour and a bit of corn flour would be a wonderful mix to start off with. I would go heavier on the coconut flour because it's a more neutral and actually a softer flour, if you will, and then a little less on the starchier flours. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. So Zola, we actually have a beautiful bread
Oh!
that has already been baked here.
Oh, lovely.
So I'm just
Okay.
going to put this down to the side
Thank
when
you
you're
for
ready.
putting that down to the side. Okay, so this isn't ujeqe, this is bread. So it's two completely different things, but that's okay. Bunny chow is traditionally made with baked bread, but for ujeqe and what I was trying to show you is sort of fusing two cultural dishes. So ujeqe, which is Zulu or Xhosa or Dombolo, or rather, and bunny chow, which is an Indian dish, fusing the two together. So steamed bread. So picture it because you won't see it. Okay, let me take you on a journey. So picture a really soft, tender, steamed bread filled with that delicious, rich, spicy, fragrant curry. Hey? I mean, if you
I
talk
can
about
imagine
a
it. I'm
Rainbow
ready.
Nation dish, it's that one. It's that one. But let's do the bread for now.
Can I give this
so
a bit of a
let's-
stir over here?
Yes,
A
you
bit-
can.
it's
Let's
just
build our
bubbling
bunny
away
chow.
beautifully.
Did somebody have a question? I thought I saw a hand go up.
Anyone have a question?
I
Oh, the
didn't
bread
hear-
that was in your sample.
I didn't hear her, sorry.
The bread that was in the sample, was it a baked bread or the steamed bread?
Was
Baked.
it steamed?
Baked.
Was it baked? Oh, it was baked. Okay. Okay. I'll just have to come back and make you Jack.
I think we're going to definitely. I
I
want
think
to try.
so, hey? Okay, well let's pretend this was Jacka. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm going to just assemble
Quite a crusty,
bunny chow.
crust there,
But
yeah?
if you do make this at home, because the recipe will be on the website for Ujeqe, so then you'll steam the bread. You'll hollow it out, but you'll bake it in little mugs, so you'll have little individual ones, so it's easier to plate, and also the presentation will be much better.
Can you use a ramekin, for example, as well?
Absolutely, you could use a ramekin. Like I said, use an old tin that you've cleaned out. But what you want to do is hollow out the bread. Let me just get the middle bit's
Do we
always
need
the
a
best
do we
bit.
need a spoon as well, or we
No,
can just
no,
kind
we're-
of
we're all
pull
good,
it
we're all
out?
good. I'm going to do the middle part because it's the best part and it's going to be flatter. So basically, you want to just hollow out your bread or your jacker. So same principle. So hollow it out because you want to make a space to put all that curry in there, right? Has everyone had bunny chow before? Okay, so we all know where we're going with this, right? Okay, Ames, I'm going to get a
Right.
plate and I'm going to
Okay.
dab again.
Good. So as you guys can see, we've taken out quite a bit of the bread. I'm just going to show you over here. So you've got it ready to
Thank you,
go
that's
for the
perfect.
bunny chow.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Little social media hot behind the scenes
Yeah.
here.
it's my sister, everybody. Yes, it's just clearly someone follows me on social media. Yes, that is my TikTok dance partner, for those who don't know.
Love it. We all need one of those.
So hollow out the bread, but leave a base, otherwise the curry is all going to run out at the bottom. So once your curry is cooked, remember this would have simmered and all the tomatoes would have broken down. It will be very saucy, very unctuous, delicious.
How long would
It'll
that
be like
process
yours.
normally take?
Sorry.
How long would you cook it down for normally?
I would cook it for about 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
On a very low heat, just so, excuse me,
And you
just so
said
everything breaks down and becomes sort of one delicious, cohesive sauce.
and you could add some extra liquid in there, maybe a little bit of coconut cream or something if you like.
Absolutely, absolutely. You could definitely add some coconut cream, but then that wouldn't
looks
make it very
beautiful.
traditionally Durban.
Oh, right,
because-
right. Sorry, I don't want to head away from the
Yeah,
Durban.
I don't want my mom coming after you, girl. But definitely, absolutely, you could.
My dad was born and bred in Durban, so he would have been, but Ames, come on now.
And then serve the hollowed out bits of bread.
Beautiful.
Because we don't want to waste them. If
Yeah.
you do have any extras, freeze them, make breadcrumbs, never waste. And then what would be great would be acha, if you're an acha type of girl or boy.
Amazing.
Or a little bit of extra chopped chili would be lovely if you like a bit of extra spice. Traditionally, some carrot salad, so just grated carrots with a bit of vinegar in there. Oh, she's nodding because she knows. Will be served with the bunny chow. Or you could do ushatini or sambal is what it's also called. So it's basically chopped tomatoes, onions, also a little bit splashed with vinegar, some salt, and lots of coriander, and that will
Beautiful.
be delicious with that. So this is my, well, I'm not going to call it ujeqe. This is my cowpea curry bunny chow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coriander.
Little coriander to garnish on top. Thank you so much, Zola. This has been absolutely amazing. If anyone wants to come up and have a bit of a closer look at what the curry looks like in the pan, just to see that texture with the beans, it's really beautiful. I quite like how eye-catching the beans are.
Yeah,
they
they
look
are.
different, right? They've
And
got a
it's
beautiful look.
If you cook them for a dinner party, it might be a very cool talking point because people won't possibly have seen them before.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Something
try
a
a
little
new
unusual.
pulse, a new bean.
Yeah, and we've got the
Introduce it
raw
to your
ones
life.
here. If anyone wants to see what those look like, you can pass the cup around as well.
And if anyone has any more questions, please feel free.
You're welcome to
ask.
come up and ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got the microphone.
But thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming. Much
Thank you.
appreciated.
Thanks, everyone. We will be hosting our next session in about 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you so much, Zola. This was absolutely incredible. I'm definitely going to be using these beans in the future. It's so good to use our local ingredients.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.